Good morning. My name is Olivia Duke, and if you know anything about me, you know that I cry all the time. I am known as the crying girl. Just about anything makes my eyes water. In case anyone was wondering, the official scientific reason behind tears is that the main lacrimal gland, located between a shallow depression in the frontal bone and eyeball, is responsible for producing tears stimulated by irritation or emotion. Basically, there's a gland above our eyes, right there, that is activated when the eye needs protection or when you feel an excess of emotion. Crying is both a biological and emotional release of energy with feelings as stress hormones exit the body. It's also a survival mechanism because it shows that there's something that needs to be addressed. Ironically enough, crying can also be used as a manipulation tool in social situations, although I would never do that. After 11 and a half years at Oakridge, I'm sure that everyone here has seen me cry for one reason or another. So thank you for putting up with me and for taking pictures of me. People cry for a multitude of reasons, one of them being happiness. The first time I remember crying tears of happiness was in the 6th grade. My parents surprised me with my very first cell phone. I was ecstatic. I was one of the last kids in my grade to get one, and I was so happy that I was finally able to text my friends on my own cell phone that I burst into tears. People don't always have to cry for themselves. Sometimes they cry for other people, like movie characters. Movies get me every time. They don't have to be sad, they can be silly or scary, it doesn't matter. I've cried in movies like The Fault in Our Stars, Breaking Dawn Part 2, The Notebook, Pitch Perfect 2, The Minion Movie, Insidious Chapter 3. I cry at them all. I tend to get emotionally attached to movie characters and always find a reason to cry by the time the credits roll. In the 6th grade, I traveled to Costa Rica with my parents and my grandparents. We stayed in a gorgeous house overlooking the countryside. It was so gorgeous that I felt the need to take this incredibly awkward selfie with the incredibly gorgeous countryside in the background. The only downside of this incredibly gorgeous countryside house was that it was basically the world headquarters for geckos. And we all know how I feel about geckos. They were everywhere, both inside and outside, constantly making their creepy little clicking noises. I could not deal with it. The locals said that it was normal and that the lizards were completely harmless, but I was not having it. This is where I developed my phobia of geckos. In fact, I was so scared to find a picture of geckos that this was the only one I could look at, because the real ones scare me too badly. For example, if someone in my 6th period AP Lit class were to bring up a hypothetical situation in which geckos constantly followed me around, it would definitely make me burst into tears. On the other hand, dogs make me cry tears of happiness, especially puppies, absolutely especially corgi puppies. My love of dogs in general began in the 3rd grade when I got the greatest Christmas present ever, my chocolate Labradoodle puppy named Coco. However, I couldn't tell you why I love corgis so much. All I know is that a family friend got a corgi puppy right before Christmas and decided to bring her to my family's Christmas party. Holding that sweet puppy was honestly one of the most tear-filled moments of 2015. As I snuggled with Tink the baby corgi, all I could do was cry. When I put her on the ground and watched my fully grown chocolate Labradoodle play with her, I cried even harder because it was that cute. Clearly, I cry for a lot of reasons, whether it's cell phones, movies, geckos, puppies. However, these material things will never rival the waterworks that came with the special moments in my sophomore year of high school. Every little girl dreams of having a sweet 16. At least I know I did. However, as my 16th birthday drew closer, it was becoming clear that that was not a possibility. Surprisingly, I was okay with that because even though I wasn't supposed to know, I was getting a car. The night of my birthday, my parents told me that they had to go to Joe T's for a celebration dinner for a fundraiser for TCC that my dad had been involved with. They wanted me to come with them so that I wouldn't be alone on my special day. When we got to Joe T's, my parents said, "We're here for the TCC party," and they said, "Do you mean the party for Christy?" And I did not even make the connection that Christy was my mom's name. So we began walking through the restaurant, and I see some of my friends' parents sitting at a table, and I waved at them, and they just kind of turned away. And I was shocked that they were so rude, because normally they made a point to say hi to me. We got closer to the party room that had a glass door, and I saw my friends sitting inside and wondered, why are Skylar and Paige at a TCC party? Despite all these obvious clues, I had no idea that my friends and family were throwing me a surprise birthday party, something I had wanted even longer than a sweet 16. When I walked through the door and all my friends screamed, "Surprise!" I was so overwhelmed that I burst into tears. Chris Fox was probably well into his 4th plate of fajitas by the time I was able to stop crying. About a month after my 16th birthday, I applied to be a Cinderella candidate. It was only something I'd wanted since the age of 8. When I got my acceptance letter in the mail, I was so excited that all I could do was cry. However, at the ball, I was a nervous wreck. The only thing that kept me held together backstage was that my dad and judge were telling me corny jokes, trying to distract me. When the MC called my name, I walked down the aisle with my dad. When I reached the end of the walkway and turned around to do my curtsy, there were tears in my eyes. I was so happy that I was living the moment I had always dreamed of. My hard work earned me third runner-up and first place scholarship. When they announced my name, I was done for. There was no stopping the tears, especially since I had on elbow-length white gloves. After the presentation, I was dancing with my dad during the father-daughter dance. I was bawling my eyes out so much that my dad joined in with me, so clearly it must run in the family. I have been dreading senior year since my freshman year of high school. It's weird because senior year is normally what people look forward to. Being the emotional person that I am, I knew that it would be difficult because of senior moments. Now that I'm over halfway done with senior year, I can honestly say that there was reason behind my dread. I have cried so much at the thought of leaving my best friends next year. I cried on the first day of school, both the real one and the one that I had 2 weeks later thanks to mono. I cried at the last home football game, the playoff game, the cheerleading walk-in, and this past weekend at our last cheerleading competition. I cry at the thought of the musical being over, and that's still over a month away. I definitely cried writing this speech, not just because it brought up so many old memories of tears, but also because at Oakridge, I'll Speak Out is such a significant part of senior year, and I could not believe that it was actually happening to me. Clearly, I cry for a multitude of reasons. I was curious to see whether this was just a me thing or if there was a scientific reason behind it. I did some research, and 2008's Personality and Individual Differences said that the group of people that are most comfortable crying in front of others are women who are extroverted and empathetic. I think a safe bet, if you had to describe me in 2 words, would be empathetic and extroverted. Not everyone is comfortable crying in front of others as I am. In fact, most people get really uncomfortable. Clearly, Grace does not mind taking selfies while other people are crying, while Judge kind of gets scared and has a weird look on his face. However, crying has some great benefits. According to Dr. Judith Orloff, for both men and women, tears often show courage, strength, and authenticity. People tend to feel better after crying. I know that I do almost every single time. And finally, to all those who said I would cry during this speech, I have officially made it through with no tears. Thank you.